Happy Dark Poetry Day. I just wanted to do a super quick reading today because I realized the first poem I ever sold was called The Braid, and I sold it to Peter Salomon, who put it in the second showcase. Wow, it's so hard to get this. There we go. Who put it in the second showcase? And today is National Dark Poetry Day, as you know. And he started National Dark Poetry Day. Peter Salomon did. And he started the showcase. So I thought to celebrate National Dark Poetry today, the perfect thing to do would be to read the first poem I ever sold, which he bought. And really, it was his encouragement that kind of got me started in poetry um, because it was Peter and he was super loving and enthusiastic, and I really appreciate it. Unfortunately, Peter's not with us anymore, but his legacy of Dark Poetry Day and the showcase will go on. So I just want to read this really quickly. And hello, how are you doing? I'm super tired, as you can tell by my voice and stuff. I'm over here in Portland with Francis Pie, and we've been having a lot of fun doing a lot of work. And so, yeah, that's why I'm tired. But The Braid. And the interesting thing about this poem is when I first wrote it, of course, I thought, it's amazing. It's the best poem ever. And then Peter published it, which, yes, of course, it's the best poem ever in the world. And then over the years, I started thinking of this poem as I don't really like this. That was not a good poem. I'm really embarrassed about it. But as I read it again recently, I was like, I do like that poem. But mostly, I think I like it for what it represents now. That connection with Peter and Dark Poetry Day and the showcase. And these things are super important. The showcase I'm talking about, by the way, is the HWA Poetry Showcase. For anybody who's not familiar with it, Horror Writers Association. It's only open to members of the Horror Writers Association, but it's super worth it to join. And you can find out more information at horror.org, HORROR.org. But to the poem part, which is the whole point of this, before my voice just completely collapses. The Braid. Why the funny faces, the baber. Okay, how do you try that again? Sorry, I am tired. Why the funny faces? Oh, nice. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading chat. I'm going to read this really quick, and then I will let you guys go to your lives. And thank you for listening. Why the funny faces? The babysitter asked. The little girl upon the stair stuck out her tongue and gasped, with her face turning blue, her eyes bulging, and her 5-year-old tongue hanging out, while overhead the rafters creaked, under the weight of nothing. I'm like the woman with the braid, the girl said, pointing up to empty air. The babysitter sat next to her and stroked the small girl's hair, while the girl continued making faces to the air above the stair, and overhead the rafters creaked, under the weight of nothing. Shall I braid your hair like hers? The babysitter asked. The small girl laughed and held her breath until her face was blue and wrecked. No, thank you, gasped the little girl, the braids around her neck, while overhead the rafters creaked, under the weight of nothing. So that was The Braid, originally published in Poetry Showcase Volume 2 for Peter Salomon, kind of, I guess, in honor of Peter Salomon today, because he started Dark Poetry Day and the showcase. And I loved the idea of that story. I can't even remember where I read it. It's like a Reddit thing or something. But the story behind it is a little girl is making funny faces, and the babysitter is like, what you doing? The girl says, oh, I'm making faces like the woman with the braid. And then the babysitter's like, oh, I'll braid your hair. And the little girl's like, no, the braid's around her neck. So what the little girl was seeing was a ghost that was hanging and choking. So that's the funny faces. And so super spooky little story. I always thought was kind of cute and just a fun little horror thing. But now I digress, and I really will lose my voice. And I wish you all a happy Dark Poetry Day and an adieu. whatever that is. All right, bye.